Throughout our course, we've been using XML to configure Spring security. If you're familiar with Spring, you know that Java configuration is another option you have when working in the Spring framework libraries. I prefer to use XML because I believe it is more concise. People complain about tags in XML, but now we're wrapping entire configurations with method signatures. I don't see the conciseness with that approach. I also don't see a lot of supporting documentation for Java config. The body of work out there for XML is a lot greater than what is out there for Java config. So those are the things I consider when making my choice between Java and XML. With that being said, Java config is gaining popularity, and we're going to take a look at how we can perform some of our configurations using Java config within our application. So what you'll notice is that in the application, we have replaced our XML configuration with a pure Java configuration. So we have a web configuration and a web initializer class, which will set up the Java config for Spring MVC. And we're going to now add in the Java configuration for Spring Security. To set up our configuration, we will need to create two classes. So the first class that I'm going to create, we will call the Java Security Config class. And this class needs to extend a web security configure adapter. And we'll just click finish and our new class will be created. And let's talk a little bit about this class. It's going to contain all of our configuration. So we use Spring's configuration annotation in order to mark this class as a configuration class. You'll notice that it extends the web security configure adapter class. And this is a helper class that is provided by Spring that allows us to quickly set up some of our configuration. So instead of providing the explicit long approach to configuring our security, we are going to use the helper methods within that class, and they're going to provide us with a little bit more concise ways of setting up that configuration. Now that we have our configuration class in place, we need to create another class. So we're going to use the new dialog, we'll create a class, and then we are going to create a security web application initializer class. And we are going to also have this class extend a Spring provided class, the abstract security web application initializer. So let's set up that inheritance, and then we'll build out our class, and let's talk a little bit about this class. So the abstract security web application initializer. This is going to act very similar to when we configure our delegating proxy filter within the web.xml file. It's going to register that filter within our Spring Security configuration, and that's going to cause the framework to handle all of the different requests. The only thing we need to do within this class is create a constructor. So I'll create a security web application initializer constructor, and then we invoke a super constructor on the abstract security web application initializer class, and we pass in our Java security config type. So there we're passing in the class file, and that's going to register that configuration when our application is starting up. So now let's return to our Java security config class. And now we'll start building out our Spring Security Java configuration. So the first piece of configuration that we need to add is Spring's Enable Web Security annotation. This annotation will allow Spring Security to integrate with the Spring MVC framework. Next, we are going to use the import resource annotation to pull in our data persistence layer. And that was configured within the webinf spring application context.xml file. So once we import that XML file, we will get all of the configuration for that Spring data setup that is performing our data persistence. Next, we are going to component scan for all of the beans within the com.o'reilly.security package. So with these four annotations in place, this completes our class level configuration. Now, the only annotation that is specific to Spring Security is the Enable Web Security annotation. The other three are specific to Spring Core's Java configuration. With the class level configuration in place, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at how to provide our specific Java configuration for Spring Security.